niche areas, including community tourism. And prior to this, was employed as a tourism development officer in the Ministry of Tourism and International Transport. While she was at the ministry, she was responsible for human resource development and community tourism. Ms. Trotman has over 20 years experience in the tourism industry and has been employed in different capacities, spanning both the private and public sectors. She remains passionate about and deeply committed to this industry as she continues her journey with the authority. So she's here to present now to us about how the rum shop, or the village shop, it should be, or should say, is a key part, what can be a key part of our tourism product, and she's going to speak to how the village shop represents Barbados from a tourism aspect. So I hand you over now to Ms. Sharon Trump. Well, immediately hear everything, yes.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. The Barbados Tourism Authority, we pride ourselves on doing tourism differently. So one of the things that we have been really pushing is our community tourism. How do we get our visitors or our guests to immerse themselves in our community? And one of the ways that we have been doing this is by taking advice from them. They have said to us that they don't want us to plan anything for them specifically. Plan our own thing, and they are more than happy to come and be a part of whatever we plan for ourselves and enjoy it with us. So they want to eat the same food we eat, they want to hang out where we hang out, they want to go to the places we go to, as a matter of course. So that is one of the things that we've been trying to do. And through the whole community tourism, one of the projects in particular that is dear to my heart is we have been working closely with Franklin and the Bayville Association of Rum Shops. We have provided some support for his art of bartending, but we are now embarking on a new phase of that project where we are looking at the strictly Bajan rum shop tours. And the whole idea behind the rum shop tours is to give them a sneak peek into a part of our heritage, which is what the rum shop is. How many people here can remember buying sugar and flour and salt and cheese and butter by the weight and it being wrapped in brown paper on the counter? How many people you can remember you going to the rum shop and maybe Mr. Marshall can help us telling us why rum shops have 3 doors. Every rum shop, that is the singular hallmark of a rum shop. Every rum shop has 3 doors.
And the swivel door.
And the swivel door. And the separation of the rum shop, Mr. Marshall spoke of the curtain. I remember the rum shop where you had one counter, one square counter that the attendant used to stand behind, and one side was groceries, and separating the groceries from the rum shop was the glass case, which would have the flies in it, and the hand cutters, and you would see all the cheese, the grease is coming over the cheese. Right. People are coming and buying their cheese cutters and their bread and tools and their ham cutters, and they're eating them quite happily despite the flies. The flies are not a concern. And women never entered that part of the rum shop. It was considered scandalous for women to go to that side of the rum shop where rum was consumed. And as a child, going to the shop, because I can say going to the rum shop, when I went to the shop, I had to go and I had to stay on that side of the counter. And you could look across and see, and you would try and sneak peeks. Because if they caught you looking, it was like, what are you looking up there for? There's nothing up there concerning you. So you always had that community correction, even as a child going into the shop. And I also remember in those days, I had a cousin who used to smoke and drink, and he used to send us to the shop for cigarettes and for rum, and we never ever considered opening the rum or taking a tour of one of the cigarettes. That was unheard of. And we were trusted to do that. I mean, you can't do that now, but we were trusted to do that. And to me, it says something about our community and how a village actually raised a child. So even if they didn't see you, somebody else would see you, and then they would be held to pay after that. So the rum shop really is a part of our heritage, and we want to share this with visitors, and we thought one of the best ways we could do that was through Franklin's tour, the Strictly Bajan Rum Shop tour. And this all started out of an idea that we should do 50 rum shops in Barbados, and I asked the question, but can we find 50 rum shops? And then Franklin said, actually yes, you can. There are over 80 that are still open and functioning in Barbados, and I was quite happy to hear that. So we started with the idea of doing 50 of these rum shops, doing 3 rum shops a tour, and I was kind of like, we can finish this by November, and it was kind of like, yeah, we can do it by November, and actually by the time we reach November, we would have done more than 50 shops. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of this particular endeavor. Now, one of the things I liked about Franklin's approach is looking at how do we make rum shops viable again? How do we make them a part of the business life in Barbados? And you talked about some of the challenges they were having. We felt that in order to make that happen, we needed to help expose them to visitors, because these are the things they want. People would prefer, and I find our British visitors tend to be more adventurous than our American visitors, and our Canadian visitors can be a little adventurous too, but the British visitors tend to be a little more adventurous. So anytime you pass a rum shop and you see a hired car parked there and you see people inside drinking beers and eating whatever the fellows in the rum shop eating, you know that they're British visitors. Europeans too will do the same thing, and for some of them language is a barrier, but they don't let it be a barrier. Food is universal language. So people know what they like, people know what they want to try, and we always encourage them to try. We should encourage them to try our food, because our food is unique to us. And I'm sorry that Mr. Marshall is not able to give us a little sneak peek into food, because I find a lot of Bajans don't know why we eat the foods we eat. We just eat it, we like it, but we don't really know the history behind the foods we eat. Foods like pudding, sauce, and cocoa. So, and these foods have a history. So these things are important when we share these things with people, to let them know what the history of these things are. And a lot of them are things that people have brought with them, some from Scotland, some from UK, you know. We have borrowed some things from the Amerindians, and we still eat a lot of that stuff today. And a lot of people don't know these stories. So when we share these things with visitors, we're able to share some of this information with them and let them see that we don't do things in a vacuum. Nothing happens in Barbados in a vacuum. And all of these things feed into who we are as a people. And I always tell people, you know, we are the only colony in the West Indies that was British from settlement until independence. And our history reflects that. Our history reflects that in a big way. Bajan dialect is based on Old English. And those of you, and Mr. Marshall would know this, when you read Schomburg's, Bertrand Ligon's True and Exact History of Barbados, you know, you have about this much writing, and then the rest of the page is footnotes, explaining a lot of things that are written in this little paragraph, but we don't need it, because we understand everything that he said. We understand everything that he said. So everything, even our dialect, is a reflection of our history and where we have come from. And I keep saying, you know, it has a place. It has a place, it does have a place. And I don't think we should dismiss it altogether, but teach that it has a place. It has a place, and we should really learn the roots. What are the roots of our dialect? What makes it uniquely us? Because we don't say things the same way other people say things. Most of the other people in the Caribbean say honor. No, Bajans say wanna. Right? We have a particular way of phrasing. Alright? Reverse back. Who else says that? That is uniquely us. Reverse back, but I mean you can only reverse back, but we like to get on the point across. Alright? Emphasis. The emphasis is there. So there are things that are unique about us. And I keep telling people Bajans speak in a particular way. And if you think about some of the things we say, they're really quite funny. But we don't think that it is funny. We think that it's normal. I remember I was at the ministry one day in the lunchroom, and we were talking about people and how they behave. And one of my colleagues said, oh, you know, because you know they got some people that wake up dead. So everybody was kind of like, and I burst out laughing, and everybody was looking at me. Why are you laughing? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, there is. Right? You can't.
That's right.
Dead, but that is how we express ourselves. So that makes us unique. And these are all the things that we're trying to expose our visitors to. We're in the course of planning an event in Bridgetown right now. And we were trying to come up with a name for it. And somebody said, but why you don't just tell people to come down? And somebody said, no man, they're too local. I said, hello, we are local. So what is your point? We are. And when you say come down, we know you mean Spikes Town, you mean Hotel. When you say come, I go in town, you're going to Bridgetown. You understand? And that is something that is unique to us. Alright? We have to share our unique features. And that is one of the things that we're trying to do with our community tourism program. Getting the word out there about the things that make us unique, the things that make us different from the rest. Because it is our differences that will sell us. We have priced our product at such, we have pitched the price of our product at such a high level that we have to give people all the value added that we can. So if it means taking them on a rum shop tour and giving them some information on the history of Barbados, talking about Captain Rumball, I don't know how many of you have heard the ad on the radio, but that's one of the questions we ask. Do you know who Captain Rumball is? And I'm certain some of you didn't know before tonight who he was, or even that he existed. So those are the things we want to share with people. That these are the things that make us unique. That is why you must come to Barbados. And that is our job, to get product on the ground that people can come to Barbados and say, you know, I have never experienced that anywhere in the world, and knowing they can never experience it anywhere else in the world. And that is one of the reasons why we work so hard. That's why I went to the office this morning at 9 o'clock, and I'm still out here now, trying to make a difference and get the word out that this is what we're doing. So anytime you see Franklin's bus passing with people on board, encourage them to stop. Talk to them. Tell them about your village, your community. What are the things that make your community different from any other community in Barbados? And each community in Barbados is different. And as small as we are, you know, people from St. George speak different to people from St. Peter, from St. Philip, St. John. People from the city speak different to people from other parts of St. Michael. As small as we are, people from St. John speak differently.
Careful.
Right? They speak differently. They have their own expressions. Right? As small as we are. And as a friend of mine that said, a little Tubaino island, and there's so many differences in Barbados. 21 miles long and smile wide. And there's so many differences. From parish to parish, there's so many unique features. And one of the things that we have acknowledged that makes us unique is because each community is different. each community has something different to offer. And I always encourage people, even my students when I used to teach, I used to tell my students, you know, if you have something in your community that you feel strongly enough makes you different from any other community in Barbados, and you think that visitors would be interested, write a proposal. I was working at the ministry then, and I said, send it to the Ministry of Tourism. Because they're officers in there, and I was one of those officers. And we don't think that, well, I didn't think that I was the end all and be all of all ideas as it relates to tourism development. Because some of my best ideas used to come from the communities. When you're going to develop product, how do you go about doing stuff? And what my hardest job was, you get one or two people, or you get maybe a handful of people that are enthusiastic. The most difficult thing is to get the buy-in from the other members of the community who can't quite see it, or who's not worth it to put in all that effort and to do all that work. But you know, nothing in life comes easy.
That's right.
Nothing that's worth having comes easy.
That's right.
Except
Conception.
exactly.
Some people are hard.
And there's some people who should work hard at that.
I just want.
So go ahead.
Yeah. Just want to respond to a couple of points, particularly those made by Sharon, and we know each other now. You can't say how many because
Before I was born.
before you were born, right? The rum shop, one area we did omit, and that is the usefulness of the rum shop to politicians. The politicians, you know, and I'm sure Franklin and Sharon have something to say to that. No, and I go back to the 50s because we're looking at 50 years of the rum shop, and I'm basically looking at 60 years. There's something in Barbados called corned beef. Corned beef and biscuit politics. Right? And no politician in the 1950s, let's say when really democracy came to Barbados, 1951, and T. O'Brien and Nancy Cox, some of you are old enough to remember Nancy Cox and T. O'Brien, ran for St. Michael, meaning all up here, when Stanley Dick Seeley and Louis Lynch and Motley ran for the city, right? And no politician worth his salt, not even her salt, right, went to try to court a constituency unless you went into the rum shop and said, boys, the rum on me. Shopkeeper, open half a dozen tins of corned beef here, right? Right? And the biscuit of choice was Eclipse, hard biscuit. And you had 6 plates there, and a liberal amount of pepper sauce, right? And everything was on the politician. And there was a time, I think, up to the 1990s, that corned beef and biscuits politics operated, and the rum shop was therefore the central part of every general election and by election. And a sure way to lose was not to go in the rum shop and treat the men one and all to corned beef and rum, corned beef, biscuits and rum, right? And several people who were rum shop proprietors went into politics. I know in St. John, when Errol Barr came to St. John, he brought with him a man who originated from St. Lucie, John Yearwood. And John Yearwood had a shop there in Gall Hill, right? And therein lay the basis of his popularity. In St. Andrew, Darrell Foster, Ernie Bourne's father, had a shop as well. Ernie Rock, Ms. Rock had a shop, and in addition to the buses. And in every parish, if the rum shop proprietor was not the was not your politician aiming to get the seat or the challenger, some member of his family or some close friend who owned the rum shop was his right-hand man. And the rum shop became, therefore, the central area for your political activity. And a particular kind of argument and argumentation developed in the rum shop. You know, and it was loud. It was at cross purposes. It was, I mean the argument in the rum shop, loud and fueled by alcoholic beverage, irrational. Usually it meant arguing against the person and not against the idea. And obviously the person with the loudest voice won the argument, rum shop arguments. I still think that Parliament Parliament is a place for rum shop arguments, right? But I mean, we as little boys growing up, you went and as Sharon would say, you peeked and you saw these big men in the rum shop and arguing, and you tried to follow the trend of their argument. Man, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, man. I tell you, man, that the bar and the lawyer, the bar is fish cakes and bakes lawyer, man. He ain't a lawyer. And the fellas, you know, man, let me tell you something. He's a better lawyer than Grandy Adams. Grandy Adams can't win the case. And if Grandy Adams is a better lawyer than Barrow, I get fair one on that. And that's how arguments in the rum shop, man. You know? You just argue things which were totally irrational. And, you know, but conviviality, that is being social, being together. That was the order of the day. And I suspect that that's one of the reasons that we have an incident-free system of politics. You cannot have rum shop arguments in Jamaica. You cannot have parlor. They call in Trinidad, they call them parlors. You can't have those kind of arguments in Trinidad, in Guyana, and elsewhere. Too many fissures, race, class, etc., etc. But in our rum shops, every single politician has to show his, and I don't know if any of our females have shown their faces yet in our rum shops. I think Billy Miller has shown his face in the rum shops in the city. But usually, as in keeping with the original idea, women kept severely away from the rum shop, right? But in the rum shop, a politician had to show his mettle. First of all, you could not just put the rum there and not quaff. You had to show that you could drink with the hardest drinker in the village. And when he fired one, a neat bottle, right, you had to fire one too, and you drank and drank, and you had to still be steady on your feet. Otherwise, you would not get the reputation of being a real man. A real man was not an academic. They called you a pen and paper man. A real man was one man who could toss back this 6 times and still say, I am not drunk. Right. So you would find Grantley Adams in a rum shop. You would find Earl Barrow in a rum shop. Tom Adams in a rum shop. I don't know if in this particular area you find Frandell Stewart in the rum shop. No? No? But times have changed. Barney Lynch, in coming over here, has been in a rum shop. And when Sandyford held this constituency and Lammy Craig ran, Lammy was in himself a rum shop. Right? So, you know, you had to. And that was part of the secret of the rum shops, right? The politician really bulked large. Now, as Franklin said, there has been a structural change. The rum shop, the groceries aspect of it is taken over by the mini market. There's more compartmentalization. Some places like Maps Shop in Eagle Hall, which I'm very familiar, now sell almost no groceries at all. And it's a chicken place, chicken and alcohol. The fellow up in Bashar named Allenby? Quimby, I think Quimby should be on your list. Quimby is still your traditional, quintessential rum shop and grocery. Right? I think that you all should look at that again. You can still go up in Quimby and, you know, at 9 o'clock and buy thimble and cotton and thread and buy also rum and whiskey, etc. You can also get karaoke at Quimby. Quimby is one of the first people to have karaoke in Barbados, believe it or not. So I think you should look at that also. But the other point we wanted to make is about food. Food, and I started making the point. Hammy on Long Gap. No close? Close?
Guys are really
On the new management?
Yes, very open.
I think so. I think Hammy is
They had the best cutters going up, boy.
right.
But we got cut up here now.
That's why we started this off.
We got cut up here.
Right.
I mean, early.
Yeah.
See,